The case against the 5 men accused of murdering Bafana Bafana captain Senzo Meyiwa came to a somewhat explosive halt today after Advocate for accused number 5, that's Zandile Mshololo, asked for more time to study the contents of a second police docket that apparently implicates people including Meyiwa's girlfriend Kelly Khumalo and his killing. The matter will resume in the High Court in Pretoria on Monday. Newzroom Afrika's Mnisi has been tracking the case. We're also joined now by legal expert Advocate Romeo Ntambeleni to make sense of the day's proceedings. Gentlemen, my thanks to you both. Linda, let's begin with you for the context. The second docket that had Advocate Mshololo quite upset today in court, was it kept away deliberately? Why was she not aware?
Well, you'll remember that just last week we heard about this particular docket and what it contains from Advocate Malisala, therefore saying that in fact it was listing Kelly Khumalo and the rest of the people who were in the house as the prime suspects. In fact, it contradicts the theory around this case that is now before the court, saying that in fact there was no person that entered the house. The killer is amongst the people who were in that house, and of course the alternative charge or the other charge in this docket is of course also defeating the ends of justice. So they would be charged with two charges. They would face two charges, defeating the ends of justice as well as murder. So Advocate Mshololo saying that today it was the day when he actually received this docket. It was for the first time that he has gotten content of this particular docket, and he would need time to go through it because she still needs to cross-examine Sergeant Thabo Mosia around it. So she won't be able to continue with this cross-examination. So for the first time today, this morning, in fact, she received that docket.
So the allegation that the people in the house with Senzo Meyiwa in Forsterus on that night in 2014 knew who killed him or were involved in his killing is not a new one. Do we know more about the contents of this docket that has not been pursued as far as trial is concerned and how it links them to the murder, possibly?
So far, the only thing that we've heard is around the charges that are contained in that particular docket and the theory by the investigating officers and, the reasons that were given. In fact, Advocate Malisala says that there were no exact reasons that were given as to why this matter was not pursued. So the only thing really that is out in the public is the fact that there are these charges. But you'll also remember when Advocate Malisala wanted to hand over a draft indictment to the court to talk to the charges, but also pull a statement that was made by Sergeant Thabo Mosia. The state objected to that, saying it's a mere draft, and that case was not pursued because it did not have evidential value. So today we're seeing it handing that particular docket to the defense.
Let's bring in Advocate Romeo Ntambeleni then to get the legal sense of issues. I think we may have just lost him there. Doesn't matter. Let's continue with Linda. So, Linda, how did the state explain itself and how does it believe it'll be able to continue with this case when for more than twice now we've seen this apparent breakdown between the state and the legal teams for the defense?
Well, Advocate Mshololo says that because they got this particular docket today, it does prejudice his client in the sense that during discovery, these are some of the issues that they needed to be made aware of. And in fact, he's gone to a point where he's even pleaded. But it seems there's another docket that's looking into the same case that also has different suspects. Does this mean that, the likes of Kelly Khumalo, Longwetwala, and the people who were in that house are supposed to be joining, the accused in this matter inside the box? So she sought clarity from the NPA, saying that they need to give written clarity to her in terms of what exactly happened and the reason why it has happened like this.
Right, let's try once more with Advocate Romeo Ntambeleni. Advocate, if you're able to hear me now that we've got you back. 2 dockets, 1 murder. One of these dockets is before court, and that's why these 5 men are being tried for allegedly killing Senzo Meyiwa. Advocate Mshololo today accused the state of committing a gross irregularity. Is she right?
Yeah, no, she has a point. This is unprecedented. I've never heard of it. And I think she's actually right when she said there must be clarity from the NPA on how they actually want to proceed with this matter, because if you have that scenario of two docket, why were the docket not matched before the trial? And we have the co-accused being charged and joining the others on the dock. So for me, it's very strange as to how you end up in a high-profile matter like this, not only having two docket, having two different investigative teams investigating the very same crime. So I think she's really, she has a point when she's saying that there must be clarity on how the state is actually going to proceed in this matter.
So it's one thing then to find out why this information, this docket, was not brought forward officially earlier by the state. But the main discrepancy, of course, between the two dockets you mentioned merging, I'm not clear on how that would work when one docket says these 5 men killed Senzo Meyiwa allegedly on the basis of a robbery, yet you've got another docket that says Meyiwa's girlfriend, singer Kelly Khumalo, Longwetwala, and the other people who were in the house in forced arrest on that night are now the ones who are facing the finger of blame in the second docket.
Yeah, there must be an innocent group there, Tembekile. You're quite right. The facts are not talking to each other here, because what we are looking for in terms of the crime is who committed the crime and how was that crime committed. So the person who was killed cannot be killed by two sets of people. There is a person who perpetrated the criminal act that must be found guilty and rightfully charged and brought before court. So when you have this kind of two different dockets with different accused people, you really don't know what is the theory of the case and what is the theory of the state in actually proving who is actually guilty beyond reasonable doubt that they are supposed to actually do.
Is it enough grounds, Advocate, to collapse the whole case?
Not really. You can see that things were not done the way they were supposed to actually be done, and then at the end of the day, it might actually lead to the matter being dismissed against a certain group of people. So, but it's still early. Let's check what the state has. Let's get clarity on the NPA in relation to what the matter of the dockets and how they're going to actually proceed with the dockets, and from there we can be able to make up a clean theory of what is actually going on now, because for now it's extremely confusing as to what is actually happening.
Let's go back to Linda Mnisi, our reporter who was in court today. Linda, let's talk about the legal representative for the other 4 accused in this matter. Today was Advocate Mshololo, who only represents one of the 5 men. Do we know how the other team intends to proceed? I know today Advocate Malesela Defo was not in court.
Yeah, Advocate Malesela Defo was not in court today, but, his instructing attorney, Titi Tobane, objecting to a lengthy postponement, also citing issues around the fact that one of their clients, being accused number 3, is facing threats, so they can't afford a lengthy trial. I think the conundrum here is what is going to happen now, given the fact that it has taken 8 years for this matter to get to the courts. And it was also highlighted by the judge that it shouldn't take long for this matter to also reach a finality. But the big question also for all the parties involved, in fact the defense, was the manner in which things were done. What we saw and what this second docket has done for them is raise questions really around why these decisions were taken and what influenced the decision by, for example, the NDPP, who chose to go with the 636 docket, which implicates the 5 who are currently in the dock, while the DPP in the South Gauteng division chose to go with the second theory that looks into the fact that the people who were in that particular house were the ones that committed this particular crime. Let's take a listen to what Advocate Mshololo says about the manner in which this has tainted this crime, this trial rather.
The person who has put us in this trouble, the person who has put this court, this trial into shame, is the state, who failed to disclose such a crucial information and decided to charge the accused who are before this court after they have charged other people. And I'm seeking clarity on that, and I'm being told that there is no need to seek for a longer postponement because I can be able to continue with this witness. My Lord, that is very unfair, and it's very wrong coming from the state. The NPA, my Lord, is not supposed, and he has got no right to charge people the way they want. As much as they are given, they've got rights in terms of the Constitution to decide, to make decisions on the people to charge. But also there is a way, there's an administrative way of conducting such decision. In terms of Section 33, my lord, of the Constitution, just administrative reasons.
That's Advocate Mshololo. They're talking about, of course, what the state has done in this case. I think one of the biggest things that she raised was around the irregularities, especially from the administrative side of things, saying that they've already pleaded in this particular matter. What happens now? And that is why she sought clarity. And another thing that brings, a conundrum in this issue, Thembekile, is also about how she still needs to prepare. Titi Tobani, who's the instructing attorney for Advocate Malisa Latefo, says that she does not need to go through the entire docket. Their part in raising this particular docket was around, revealing and putting to the witness issues around the irregularities when it comes to the statements that he made.
Right. So as we end then, Advocate Romeo Ntambeleni, if we still have you with us, you said you agree to a degree with Advocate Mshololo about the charge of a gross irregularity committed by the state in not bringing this second docket forward earlier. Gross irregularity, but can we go as far as saying it is to a degree a violation of the rights of the accused?
Absolutely. I think the Constitution is clear, Thembekile, in terms of the rights of accused persons, in terms of the Constitution and their right to a fair trial. How are you going to be having a right to a fair trial when there is a second set of people that are supposed to be charged and they're not actually charged? You might as well be innocent. So I think that is a very, very serious gross violation of the Constitution if it can be proved that these allegations of the second decades were supposed to have been done, and the state has all the resources to have crossed their T's and dot their I's and bring the right perpetrators before book rather than to make the shame of the criminal justice system of South Africa.
Advocate Romeo Ntambeleni, Linda Mnisi, our reporter, thank you both for your time tonight. We will continue to bring you this focus every night as long as that Senzo Meyiwa trial continues here on News at Prime, making sense of a long day of proceedings. It has adjourned until Monday. Linda Mnisi will be back in court as those proceedings resume.